All right, a seamless world between the virtual and the real is unfolding before our eyes. How much do we subscribe to it? Let's kick it off with you. Emmanuel, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're the busiest woman here in Milan and maybe all over in Italy. Professor at Bocconi University, a top university. So we just gave the audience a glimpse of some of the best technology, not only Korea, not only Asia, but perhaps in the world has to offer. And the metaverse is unfolding before our eyes. Hats off to Giant Step and also Calibers. As a top university professor, you're always engaging students. Is it a bit difficult when the speed of technology is moving really at the technology is moving at the speed of light? Does theoretical and academic research, is it keeping up? Because your job is to show and teach the students real life experiences.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to everyone. Really thank you for this amazing invitation. And thanks for this very challenging question, because it's very clear that the way we need to engage our students is changing also because of these technologies. They are more and more used to participate in an active way, and so you can clearly no longer teach in a frontal traditional way. So I think that we are changing in several respects. The market, but also the education landscape is changing so fast that we really need to pick up and stay tuned. We are both investing in trying to educate the educator, so change the way we are teaching and find new ways. We have seen amazing technologies that today are really breaking the boundaries between real and physical, and so we're starting to plan our business case discussions no longer in a traditional paper mode, but we're starting to develop some business games that are supported by augmented reality and by artificial intelligence. This is a big change also for the educator that have to teach in a different way. But then the other big challenge, as you said, is related to research, which has to change faster and faster. We have opened up different labs, both at the university level and at the business school level, which is probably what's more interesting for us here, because the business school is where we develop applied research. And we are now starting, we have, for instance, a new management science lab where we are teaching entrepreneurs and managers to really take data-driven decisions, playing with enhanced analytics. And the beauty for us is that by teaching them how to use enhanced analytics, big data, artificial intelligence, we are learning about what are the main, let's say, pains that managers are facing in their daily life. And this is informing back our own research. So it's a way to better understand from the market what are the main gaps we need to fill in, and we are learning from the market and addressing our research accordingly. We can then talk about some individual research stream. I have also my colleague here, and we are working on some specific research streams where we are applying AI. I think we will have a few more minutes to talk about that. Yeah. But for sure, we are really reshaping both the way we are teaching, but the way we are shaping our research more and more closely related to the needs of our companies.
Right, and your life is being challenged because of guys like Giant Step, right? So Kay is the point person in charge doing all the 3D apparel at Giant Step. So help us understand, how does a computer graphics special effects company all of a sudden jump into 3D apparel? How does that happen?
Actually, the video you guys all saw, those contents are made with 3D technology. So Giant Step utilized 3D technology to create media content, bringing realistic or fantastic virtual scenes to life across fields such as film or commercial or game and so on. And recently, with the introduction of a real-time 3D engine, we are expanding our scope of a 3D solution. So we developed 3 types of a virtual human. You already saw on the video, the quality is really high. So the difference is from other 3D characters, they can interactively communicate with people. So if there are companies in fashion industry or entertainment industry, you guys can create your own model or startup with our technologies.
Yeah, so celebrities, anybody can all of a sudden appear. So you can create so many avatars like Mrs. Kim's avatar that you just saw. Maybe there'll be 1,000 of them. Maybe there'll be 1,000,000 of them. So Valeria, if all of a sudden startups, tech companies become so advanced in technology, fueled by AI, in the creative field, doesn't that flatten the creative curve? Tom, Dick, and Harry, Giorgio, Stefanos, everybody becomes an artist. Then what does that mean?
Well, I think that AI is definitely going to be a game changer for sure. I also strongly believe in the potential that it has to boost the creative process, but we must bear in mind that there is a huge difference between generating an idea and creating one. And that's what we insist on with our students, for instance. It's perfectly fine for them to use artificial intelligence in their project as long as they use it as a base to expand the possibilities, to explore. It's not by chance that those outputs are called hallucinations, because you can come up with intersections between human body and animal bodies, overlaying of things that you wouldn't do in the physical world. It's fine. You expand the possibilities that the physical world, let's say, it's not offering, but then you have to develop an individual process of creativity and development of unique, disruptive, and engaging ideas. Otherwise, yes, my answer to your question would be we are at risk of being stuck into a creativity trap. Also because we have to remember that when we put something into the prompts, at the moment at least, the responses that we get are more or less the same. So the possibility that if we don't put our individual efforts into that, we get with the same results and the same low level of creativity, it's real, and it's something we have to take into account, in my opinion.
Yes, we're going to hold on to that thought, creativity trap. We'll come back to that. But I want to move on to Kima. So we saw these fantastic, hyper-realistic images of the Caliverse metaverse that you guys created. Now tell us about the retail experience. So right now, compared to digital shopping, online shopping that we know, how are you redefining that experience in Caliverse?
Yes, in our metaverse, user can experience very similar with offline shopping experience. For example, user can hold a ton, the product, I mean digital twin by their hands to get more detailed information. And also they can try on various brands items by mixing and match in virtual space, and there are no time limitation. And of course, they can communicate with AI shopping assistants who remember all of shopping history in virtual space and understand your taste, fashion style. So we are focused on making this AI shopping assistants can give some advice about fashion style. So uh, literally very deep friend about the virtual life. So we designed this metaverse with functionality and emotional plus. So metaverse definition is meta is overcome, superior, what we didn't experience before, and verse is universe. So we need to gathering together in cyber virtual space. So nowadays we are challenged to make this gorgeous metaverse experience based on MMO, massively multiple online, on the real-time rendering. It is not easy, but very valuable challenges for us. So as you can see in our metaverse, user can generate their own contents by their hands. This is totally different with the other online.
So it's like Facebook on steroids,
Yes.
on really strong steroids. So as we try to delve into the world of the metaverse, the multiverse, are we ready for it? Because while the technology moves at the speed of light, usually the psychological acceptance that takes time. That's where we want to come to you. Um, Ludovica, so the Atelier Biaggetti recently hosted two major forums, Salon del Mobile in Milan and also Frieze, Korea. Uh, Handbags became mirrors, hats became lanterns, chairs also had mirrors. It was really the concept of phygital in the wearable casa. Are people ready for phygital? Physical plus digital? What was the public reaction?
Well, actually, we hoped so. And I think, yeah, the public was ready. Because what we really understood, and also what our research is on, because we are a design studio that create experiences, not just products. We love to create experiences around objects, is that people also are craving experiences more and more. And also the younger generations are craving different kind of objects they can wear in this case. They were not just, for example, what we designed. They were not just objects. They were fashion objects. They were something more. They were experience to shape the space of your home. So actually, it was on the design side something really innovative, I think, and on the digital side, another an extension of the show. So the show didn't just stop once it was over. Once it was over at Milan Design Week, or now it's in Seoul, and it will be over in October. However, it will continue to live in the metaverse, not just a simple replica of the exhibition, but as an extension. So you can see in the metaverse the actual objects taking life, like in Walt Disney's Fantasia, you know. So you can see the planets, which were objects like bags and cabinets and mirrors, etc., becoming the planets themselves. And Clepsydra, which was a portable lantern, becoming like an elevator. So it was also real challenge to let people understand what they were looking at, and we created a Stargate. So a portal in the show where people can live wave at themselves just entering the metaverse. So it was a two entrance show, and also people from all around the world can enjoy it and continue enjoy the show.
Right. I think all of these developments, I think, are quite interesting. But just as Valeria highlighted, how there might be a creative trap as it becomes so easy to create. Now, for you, you focus a lot on the luxury industry, for the purveyors of luxury. We often buy items because they offer that signature something. They offer that customization, personalization. But if AI can do that for us, why do we end up paying a premium? So, how should luxury makers really stand out in this field? Right? If technology can do it, and I've got my own leather alligator pants or whatever, then why opt for a $5,000 clothing item when somebody else can produce it for me for $50?
Thank you so much. I think that this is the question, and I'm completely in line with what Valeria was saying. I think that if we should find a keyword that is summing up somehow the essence of what we are all sharing is complementarity. And I believe that AI is today, and digital technology in general, playing a key role, but that is still complementary to the human creativity. I like Mr. Della Valle saying that together with artificial intelligence, we have artisanal intelligence. So we have to keep combining the two. And I just want to quote very quickly one result from one recent research I have done about customization, just to catch up to what we were saying. And we compare to the extent of customization, the degrees, let's say, the degrees of freedom in customization that you want in mainstream markets versus luxury markets. And what we discover is that while in the mainstream fashion, the highest the level of customization, so the more you exploit these kind of technologies for hyper-personalization, the higher the willingness to buy and to pay. When it comes to luxury, you actually face a sort of reverted U shape. So a few degrees of customization are improving the consumer willingness to pay. But if you go too extreme, if you take too much advantage of the hyper-personalization that you can get, you somehow lose the essence of the designer. So you need to find the sweet spot balance between the consumer essence that you can bring in through this kind of technology, but also the designer essence that still has to make the product unique and recognizable. So this is the very delicate balance that we all need to find in using these technologies.
Valeria, you want to weigh in?
The problem is that when it comes to all the things that Emanuela said, and I 100% agree, there is a problem. It's the elephant in the room. In my opinion, at least, most companies are not ready at all. It's a problem of communication, because unfortunately, I see immediately the difference in the audience when I mention the metaverse, like, okay, or I switch onto immersive words. Oh, immersive words. So it's a matter of choosing the right word to talk about exactly the same thing. And for the luxury companies, especially those old institutional companies, it's easier to stay where they are. They rely on their small amount of customers. They still talk about brand loyalty. Brand loyalty what? Part of the fun today is being unloyal, being nomad and transitioning from one experience to one another. They still talk about age as a parameter to identify clusters of targets. Whereas Generation Alpha is made of people that are not independent on the economic side, but are strongly influential when it comes to older siblings, families, friends. So I get it, it's difficult for them. It's easier to stay where they are because what they have ahead, it's the adoption of a completely different mindset that has to do with the entire production and creativity process, but it's the only way to survive. You need to understand that the digital journey, it's a blur of different moments, and customers expect the companies to be there in every single moment, providing them different experience, unique possibilities of customizing who they are, avatars, digital twins, whatever. It's completely different what we have ahead. So the question is, are they ready? In my opinion, not really or not entirely. So we really need to push on the academic side, on the training side, to let people, managers also understand what actually is on the table, because it's a huge opportunity to change the way in which everything is perceived, lived, and both as well.
Ludovica, do you think that the public is perceptive, is receptive to the phygital environment based on your wearable casa exhibitions?
Well, actually, I do think so. I think most of the time, public is more ready than the companies. So this is something I think not so easy to explain, but I mean, from my perspective and from what I saw both in Milan and in Seoul, two really, I mean, different cities, this kind of phygital experience, along with like the dual use of the objects also, was really, really understood by the public. Also because one complemented the other. So when one person didn't understand how the object was made, they can really understood how it was made in the metaverse and vice versa. So I think it's complementary work, you know. So
Right. Kay, I want to bring you into the conversation. So as a tech leader driving this movement, do you feel that we're getting a little bit too excited? We feel like the metaverse is there, the multiverse is there, we're jumping in. But actually, it's not so easy because there are currently challenges in getting 3D garments just onto digital platforms. So you're trying to solve this problem. Right now, it requires a lot of time and you need to have a lot of expertise. So not all of us can jump right in and start creating digital garments. We're not all going to become Karl Lagerfeld tomorrow. So how are you solving this problem?
Well, the terms of 3D actually covers very wide range of applications. Actually, there are already more 5 solutions to create 3D garments to replace prototype of a physical garment. All the result of them are 3D, but they cannot be uploaded to the digital platform right away because every single 3D garment has to be optimized and converted to meet the very specific condition of a digital platform. So this is part what Giant Step want to solve, and we are developing another 3D software to create 3D garment and convert them easily for everyone who in the fashion industry.
So, Kima, Caliverse is getting launched at the end of the year, right? And you have this grand ambition to create an environment, something equivalent, similar to the movie Ready Player One. So if we get there, what is the experience for all of us? We get in, how will our shopping experience, how will our day to day experience get transformed?
Yeah, it's true. I love that movie. I've seen that movie over than 10 times, I think. In our metaverse, user can experience something superior, as I told you. So, when, for example, when we buy some product in virtual store, we can use that mileage from shopping to connect it the entertainment spot. For example, the mileage point get used to get game items, and also get some virtual concert ticket as well. In otherwise, the entertainment users can use that point or game score to enjoy the shopping. So all of these dividing stuff value can be connected in one space. This is very important. And also, user want to connect it with the other peoples in far away their own country. This virtual space can make connection with the other users. But important thing is the quality. So we already saw the many types of metaverse a few last years, but they do not understand why the Roblox is the best sample of metaverse because they provide the creation space. So everybody, even a teenager, can make their digital space by their hands, and they can share, enjoy the game world together. This is very important, not graphic quality. But from now, overcome the game experience, we expect them more education, shopping, uh, you know, so many valuable experience waiting for new platforms. So we need to prepare uh, more than games. So super realistic detail, digital twin by user's hand can be generated is very important. So we're gonna use, Calibre is gonna use the blockchain technology as well. So user can own it and sell it. So supply and demand can be happen naturally. The new ecosystem. So when we expect the experience about shopping in metaverse, we want to explore all of digital twin, very similar experience with offline. But the last years, we experienced the childhood for kids metaverse cannot support it, cannot make satisfaction. So Calibers always think about the graphic quality, and we try to merge it with real film and graphic environment. So Calibers challenge it to make merge it with real film and graphic, uh, super detailed graphic environment. It is very new challenges, but a giant step is the same challenges for making that. So the point is, metaverse, we can call that platform metaverse is have functionality, emotional satisfaction more than the platform what we experienced before. Very important.
Yeah, it's a great point. So I need the two brainy professors to make sense of this. All right, so first of all, let's go to Valeria. So if we're in this era where tech companies jump into fashion, 3D apparel, then all of a sudden, could the industry end up looking a little bit different? All of a sudden, tech companies are doing 3D apparel then, well, what about fashion companies? Do you have to morph into something else? You become sort of a pseudo digital tech fashion design creative, and then you even creating what YouTube videos and then creating metaverse videos. Then doesn't maybe it just becomes a convoluted industry. Everybody becomes like a Renaissance person, right? Is that what we're imagining in the future?
Well, I wish we could actually imagine that. That definitely there will be a transition onto something else, especially if companies will be able to do master data management, because that's another point that I think it's really important. At the moment, they gather an enormous amount of data and they don't know exactly what to do, but that's the starting point to understand really how to provide customers with significant experiences in the metaverse, for instance. Otherwise, it is absolutely true. It's something like, oh, gamification, it's for kids, it's for young teenagers, but there is an enormous potential, a huge value, and fashion companies have to jump onto that. For instance, to talk about sustainability. We didn't mention the fashion tale and the fashion storytelling. Sustainability, zero waste, adopting it's something that can be by generative AI, using data to understand which are the weak points and how to intervene. Customization as well. How are we going to customize anything if we don't know exactly which are the expectations, the desiderata, the things that people are expecting? One of the big problems with the metaverse by Mark Zuckerberg, let's say, I think is the detachment between the brand promise, oh, in a moment you will be able to do that, and we all went, okay, fine, how do I and I still have people that ask me, well, where exactly is the metaverse? And because, I mean, it's a question that makes sense because it's not clear at all. It's one of the worst examples of communication ever, in my opinion. So I think that definitely fashion companies will have to adopt this wider perspective on themselves about integrating new skills, new forces, maybe working in bigger teams. Also, outsourcing a little bit, which is something that luxury fashion companies do not really like to do a lot, to young entrepreneurs like the ones that we see here that are experimenting for real. I'm amazed about what I see today in the video because it's very different from what I'm used to and from what.
So, Manuela, what are the opportunities and challenges as fashion companies are faced with this new reality of having to do things really, really differently?
I think that, as Valeria said, the issue is, or the opportunity actually is in the capability to really use the big data that all these interactions are generating. Because the side effect, the beautiful side effect from a marketing perspective is that all the interactions happening into this environment are generating tons of data that are truly a gold mine, a potential gold mine. The true challenge is to make sense out of this data and identify meaningful patterns. But I really believe that this data can help to create the bridge and solve this potential trade-off between the continuous innovation need that consumers are increasingly showing and this instant gratification they're more and more getting used to, and the sustainability side that we were talking before, because the more companies really understand how to take advantage and rely on this huge amount of data, the more they can rely on this data also to craft, let's say, capsule collection that they can drop more frequently along the year, but with batches that are made of less SKUs, so fewer pieces that are more targeted to specific
But just
audiences.
want to quickly jump in. Aren't fashion companies already exasperated because they've got spring, summer, fall, winter, capsule, resort, and then the AI keeps on generating data, and then you're churning out products every day, and people are going to burn to death.
Definitely, and this is a challenge into the industry, and we have already seen some signs of some brands. I don't mention anyone, but I've started to get back a bit also from the fashion shows with many different, let's say, episodes throughout the year and the more rational approach. But still, I think that consumers are expecting, they're getting used, they've become more and more used to have kind of continuous innovation and not just seasonal drops. The opportunity to rely on data, to have drops with fewer items that are really targeted to specific audiences allows to get rid of stock because you sell out the entire a small drop if it's really targeted in the correct way to the needs of the audience that you have started to understand better and better thanks to this data.
So we have just about 5 minutes left. Before we go, I want to get a quick comment. So let's kick it off with you, Ludovica. So technology moving really quickly. How do you think this is going to revolutionize the design and art world? Very quickly.
I think the key is to do it in a collaborative way. It's not like one taking the place of the other. It's like to collaborate along with AI in order to get more data, more infos, and it's like to have another person sit at the table, a person that really, I mean, has all the knowledge, and us as designers can really pick information, pick data, pick also images in our case, but then from that collaborate with our human intelligence along with like AI.
Okay, Kay. So you are fueling this revolution. When is it going to take time? How long is it going to take for you, Giant Step, to provide the solutions so that essentially Hai can even become a designer?
Well, it's hard to say how exactly take long to provide those high quality of solutions on digital platforms. But in 3D garment, we can say the current amount of 3D garment may not be able to impact in fashion industry hugely, but enough amount or numerous amount of 3D garments can give new experience to users on digital platform. And what if the fashion companies can create or supply numerous amount of fashion digital items on digital platform every season, for every season. And then that circulation can make or shape the true fashion market on digital platform. So our goal, our Giant Steps goal is not to just to provide 3D solution to create a 3D garment or providing software. Our true goal is building a stable fashion market on digital platform.
Right. So Valeria, do you think that technology, some of what we've seen today, that is really going to revolutionize fashion? If so, what is the biggest impact you see imminently?
I would mention again, I definitely believe in the impact of generative AI. I would mention again the impact on communication, fashion tale, and fashion storytelling is going to be revolutionary also in terms of the potential that hasn't been explored yet. Again, they keep using those old models of communication, also the choice of testimonials and celebrities dates back to the 1980s, but we are not in the 1980s anymore, and I'm pretty scared by the fact that the audience, the customers, are way farther in exploring and expecting than the companies themselves. So I think we have to bridge that gap, and probably under the communication side, which is also the most immediate, that reaches the audience, it's where the generative AI is going to be the most interesting field to explore.
Right. If companies are behind the curve, Kima, as the provider of the metaverse, as the creator of the metaverse, what do you think fashion companies should do?
That question is so deep. I have only 1 minute. So,
We have cocktails later, so we can carry on the conversation, FYI.
as you guys know, nowadays the MG generation,
Millennials
yes,
and
yes.
Generation Z.
Yes, they don't enjoy the mass media anymore. They only focus on they feel interested in. So we call that broken bridges. So no more traditional marketing material can effective. So we need to transform our marketing method to MG, next core of customer. So they always hunt the interesting and entertainment. So as I told you, game score can be connected with fashion mileage point, and also, for example, when I wear digital twin about an MCM jacket, this MCM jacket make me more strong when I play the FPS game, something like that. So, or Casa, the TV inside of our virtual home, we can enjoy the other users' contents in our home. We can make a broadcasting system with users' ecosystem.
Yeah, so it's basically a hybrid reality, and also our reality in the physical space continues in the metaverse, in the virtual world as well. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our panel one speakers, Ludovica, Kima Kim, Valeria, Keibang, and Emanuela. Fantastic job. We're going to carry on this conversation in panel two. Thank you so much. All right. As we heard there, we still